welcome back to Crypto Social Analytics. Hope everyone's having a great day. So today we're going to dive into a tweet that Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador, put out yesterday, which was that basically 44 different countries are going to meet in El Salvador today to discuss financial inclusion, digital economy, banking, the unbanked, and Bitcoin, maybe most interestingly. So that's pretty big news. I mean, you never know exactly if all these countries are going to attend and, how interested they are. So take that with a bit of a grain of salt, but pretty interesting. I mean, that's quite a large subset of countries. And if you take a look at, again, some of the countries in the tweet, looks like Paraguay, Angola, Ghana, Namibia, Uganda, Madagascar, Haiti, Burundi, Jordan, Gambia, Maldives, Pakistan, interestingly, Rwanda, Nepal, Kenya, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Egypt, Jordan, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Congo, Senegal, Sudan, Liberia, Zambia, Morocco, Mongolia, interesting. So, yeah, I mean, quite a large amount of countries now. As you can see going through these aren't, the traditional, quote, developed economies like, US, Europe, Japan, Australia, China's not in here, things like that. Russia's not in here. But still pretty interesting. I mean, quite a large group of countries and interesting that he kind of made this public announcement. And I mean, there are some countries with significant populations, at least in here. I mean, Egypt, Nigeria, of course, Bangladesh. I mean, those are Pakistan, countries with pretty decent economies. So pretty interesting that all these countries are meeting. I mean, I would say from my side, for me, this is one of the most interesting things in crypto. And I mean, again, right now we're kind of in a structural bear market. So I think Rob from Digital Asset News makes a great point. It's like when we're in a bear market, good news doesn't do anything, but bad news, drags the market down. And so that's kind of what I think. If we were in a crazy bull market, this might really drive price. But right now, due to all the Fed policy, it's not making probably a huge impact in crypto prices. But I think for the long term, this is probably one of the most important stories in crypto, in my opinion, because it really, like, this could really rapidly kind of change or, challenge the dollar dominance in the world. And this could really drive, I think, price of Bitcoin and also probably other cryptocurrencies pretty quickly because I mean, these central banks have a lot of capital. And I mean, if they deploy just some of the capital, that could really drive price. And then it could also start challenging dollar dominance. And I think another interesting point is, I think it's like over 50% of the dollars are held abroad outside of the United States, different central banks. So, even if some central banks start reducing their dollar amounts, maybe holding Bitcoin, that could really have a significant negative impact on the dollar. Because if more banks start trading in their dollars, that could really create some crazy inflation and really realize a lot of this money printing value. So, in general, I think this is just a really interesting story, probably one of the most important things to keep your eye on. And I mean, there is, it's like, so we had El Salvador, I believe it was about a year ago. They began, having Bitcoin as legal tender in their country. And then shortly after that, the Central African Republic, fairly recently, so I guess this was just at the end of last month, they started accepting Bitcoin as legal tender. And now Panama is approving a bill to basically allow Bitcoin for paying taxes in some transactions. So it's not, quote, legal tender, but it is being further legalized. And so, I'd say the rate at the rate these countries are adopting Bitcoin is quite fast, because it was like a year ago and now a month ago, and now Panama's doing it, and now more countries are meeting. So definitely could have a pretty interesting impact on price. And I mean, for me, I think the technology of Bitcoin and what it can do by decentralizing economic power is pretty important. And, you know, um, the impact, one of the things that's interesting is like if you kind of think of Bitcoin like digital oil, it's like there's these countries like Dubai, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, which had a lot of oil, and I mean, became incredibly wealthy. I think even Norway, for holding oil. Sometimes I wonder, like, is El Salvador, the new digital oil country of the future, where they kind of got in early to Bitcoin and accumulated a large amount, and are really going to be very, rich in the future. I do wonder if that's the case. So one last kind of interesting, and yeah, I guess, one last point on this. I mean, yeah, there really are some countries with pretty large populations. I mean, like I said, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Egypt, Pakistan. I mean, that there's definitely some economic firepower there. So, um, and then I think one last interesting thing, if you come over to Coin Market Cap, they have a survey. So they have obviously Central African Republic and El Salvador, where Bitcoin is legal tender. And then they have, you can vote to predict the next country or region that people think would make crypto legal. So interestingly, we see Paraguay, Venezuela, Anguilla, I believe that's the name, I'm not sure. Ukraine, interesting. US, Zimbabwe, Brazil, Russia, Panama, UAE, India, Turkey, China. Interesting. So it's kind of an interesting little survey. But anyways, yeah, great story to keep an eye on. I think positive ultimately for the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So yeah. All right. Well, hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.